After posting my last video about safe injection sites, a lot of the feedback I got was all COVID-19 related. I realized that because it's on everyone's minds, it's just impossible to avoid the topic. I am not an expert, nor am I an elected official or a public health officer. You should not listen to me when it comes to how to behave. We have a public health department for a reason. People are so wrapped up in politics, they forget the government isn't supposed to be political. It's supposed to keep our society functioning properly. The media has been so unbelievably irresponsible during this outbreak. They sensationalize the worst aspects of humanity and focus on anecdotal evidence and opinion rather than empirical evidence and facts. They know that fear sells, and they are taking advantage of the public by spreading that fear. It gets them eyes, and that's how they make money. I hear radio DJs, news anchors, columnists, and celebrities giving medical and public health advice, and I cringe. I've heard countless personalities saying things that only serve to spread panic, and because of that, many people who can't think critically are creating an unnecessary hysteria. If you are shaming people for not following your advice or the advice of your favorite celebrity, you're a complete tool.
You're a complete tool.
And in my city, and I'm sure everywhere, people are flooding the coronavirus testing facilities, even though they exhibit no symptoms, just to see if they're negative. This means people who do need help, people with symptoms who need to get tested, can't get the help they need. The only advice you should be following about how to behave in relation to coronavirus is from the Public Health Department and our elected officials. They exist for this purpose. They consult experts in the field, they disseminate all the available data, and use it to provide the best possible recommendations. But Penny, my uncle said... Fuck your uncle. Sorry. Now that I've vented a little, I want to talk about the homeless. Most homeless people rely heavily on government services, public spaces, and businesses. Without them, they have no place to keep warm or to keep sane. Most try their best to blend in. They don't beg for change or bother anyone. But without public spaces to keep them occupied, being homeless becomes much more difficult than it already is. And with restricted government, a lot of vulnerable people will be left without services. Without places like the library, we have nowhere to access the internet, which is how we find work and housing. It's also the only place we get any sort of calm. The most difficult part of being homeless is the lack of privacy and the constant noise. Most people take for granted being able to go home and recharge in a quiet, private space. Homeless people don't have this luxury, and it takes a heavy toll on your mind. The library was the only place I got any sort of peace, and without it, homeless people will suffer. Just think for a moment about having no home to go back to during this outbreak. Unfortunately, there isn't much to be done about this until we know more and people get a handle on the situation. And because of that, vulnerable people will be left out in the cold until things settle down. If you see a homeless person, or you know someone who needs help, don't treat them like an outcast. People who do things like hoarding, using services they don't need, spreading panic, ignoring or shaming other people are selfish, inconsiderate, and acting in the worst way possible during this stressful time. Try helping someone else and see how it improves not only their life, but yours as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next one.